The Keiser Report host and Bitcoin pioneer Max Keiser revealed in an interview what he thinks is the superior asset, gold or Bitcoin. Talking about the upcoming debate between Michael Saylor and Frank Giustra, Max Keiser explains why Bitcoin will dominate in the future and what are the biggest advantages Bitcoin has over gold. Not only this, but Keiser predicts what will be the results of the monumental debate between the billionaires Michael Saylor and Frank Giustra. Hey guys, and welcome to Investing Few. In today's episode, I will break down the latest interview of Max Keiser regarding the Bitcoin versus gold debate. So stay tuned till the end of this video to see what Max Keiser thinks about the future of these assets. But before we start, make sure to smash the like and subscribe button for more such content in the future. Let's dive right into the video. Talking about the Saylor versus Giustra debate. In an interview with Daniela Cambone, the Bitcoin millionaire and the popular crypto expert Max Keiser shares his thoughts about the upcoming debate between Michael Saylor and Frank Giustra. For those of you who don't have any idea, the billionaire and CEO of Fior Group, Frank Giustra, has challenged the CEO of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, to a public debate on gold versus Bitcoin. As expected, Michael Saylor will be speaking for Bitcoin, while Giustra will raise points to support the notion that gold is a better performing asset. Let's see what Max Keiser had to say about the biggest debate among the two billionaires.
Experience when we kind of switched from following gold in 2021 to starting to cover Bitcoin, it was like Bob Dylan suddenly going electric, right? The traditionalists in the crowd and those folks who are into gold thought it was an outrage and a betrayal. And so there's a lot of that in this debate. People have a huge affinity for gold. It's certainly got a long track record. Frank Giustra does a good job in talking about the track record of gold, that he says it's universality, which is very appealing. It's accepted all over the world. And I think he wants to enter this debate almost, as he says, I'm willing to switch camps. I'm willing to go long Bitcoin, convince me. Tell me why I should go long Bitcoin. So he's really waving the red flag to the ultimate Bitcoin bull, Michael Saylor.
How Bitcoin is better than gold. Max Keiser also shares his thoughts about what makes Bitcoin a better option than gold, and what are some of the key features regarding Bitcoin that Michael Saylor would use in his argument against gold.
I think with gold, the greatest attack, as Saylor would point out time and time again, is that it's not technology. And we live in a century that's now being completely dominated by technology. And what made Bitcoin great was all of the technology that we've seen for decades developing in the United States finally caught up to money. So money was the last industry, the last entity in the economy that hadn't been completely transformed by software, by technology. It has impacted every other industry in the world. Most companies, and at the end of the day, are software companies. We see this in the auto industry where they can't deliver cars now because they're out of microchips, right? So that's software, that's computer technology. It finally caught up to money itself in 2009 with Bitcoin, and now it's simply taken off from there. Frank, I know, has said that, well, Bitcoin's only 12 years old and we don't have enough of a track record, but that's a bit of a misnomer because Bitcoin builds on 25 years of technology development in the space. The so-called cypherpunks have been working on this for 25 years. Even Henry Ford, speaking of the car industry, talked about having an electric money as electricity as money. And he made those comments 100 years ago. So this is not really as new as some think it is. It's the culmination of many decades of work, and then it finally took off in 2009. And like any network technology, it has the potential to go exponential. And that's we're at now, that hockey stick moment where ubiquity kicks in. So I think that Michael Saylor will drive home the point that this is technology, and how technology is the centerpiece of the global economy, and how technology is now transforming money itself and does a better job than gold in areas like portability, in sending money or sending value on the internet. Obviously, Bitcoin would be better than gold for that purpose. The transaction costs actually in Bitcoin are incredibly cheaper than gold in moving size. If you use move $1 billion worth of gold, Daniela, it's going to cost you at a minimum $30,000, $40,000 to make a move like that from one bank to another. We've seen $1 billion moves in Bitcoin routinely now costing $5. So that's an incredible cost advantage. So the technology aspect to it, I think, is really going to be a tough nut for Frank to overcome, because it's such an obvious, transformative reality that I think that's going to be a tough nut to crack, as I've said.
Is volatility and regulation a problem for Bitcoin? Moving on in the interview, Max is asked if he believes volatility and regulation aspects are the biggest problems that stop people from investing in Bitcoin. Let's see what Max had to say about this.
Yeah, those are two issues that will definitely come up, volatility and regulation. On the volatility issue, when you have an asset that's emerging to compete with gold and it's compounding at 200% a year for more than 10 years, that's the volatility. I'll take that volatility every single day. You can't have an asset move up in the millions of percentage points without volatility. And also with Bitcoin, remember something, this is very important. I'll speak as a Bitcoiner. With fiat money, which we also have to include in this debate to some degree, with fiat money, you've got no volatility, but you're guaranteed to lose purchasing power. That's a guarantee. With Bitcoin, you have some volatility, but you're guaranteed to increase your purchasing power. So what would you rather have? Some volatility and increased purchasing power, or no volatility and a guaranteed loss of purchasing power? With gold, as Paul Tudor Jones has said, he owns gold, he owns Bitcoin, but he considers Bitcoin to be the fastest horse in the race because it's competing with gold as a store of value. One of the things that Frank has said recently that I would think is a little off the mark. He says there's not really any institutional adoption, but that's not true. We're seeing institutions all over the world, insurance companies, endowments, hedge funds, sovereign wealth funds, everything up to the level of the central banks have been nibbling or outright buying Bitcoin. So we do have institutional adoption. We've got Fidelity, BlackRock, the hugest money managers in the world now buying Bitcoin or about to offer Bitcoin ETFs. So this is the institutional adoption is coming, and it is a global asset like gold. It is available universally, and it's being picked up in those countries that are being victimized by the US dollar.
One aspect of gold that Bitcoin is lacking. Concluding the discussion, Max Keiser admits that there is one aspect in which gold is better than Bitcoin. Or in other words, one feature that makes gold better than Bitcoin is fungibility. But even this feature is what makes Bitcoin stronger in a sense, as it reduces the chances of criminal activities.
The one attribute that gold has that Bitcoin doesn't at the moment is fungibility. Gold is fungible to an extent that Bitcoin is not. Fungibility meaning you can melt down your gold and recast it as in some other different form, and it maintains its integrity as gold, and it's completely anonymous, it's completely fungible. Bitcoin, because it is digital, because it's a public blockchain, because it's transparent, you don't have the same fungibility. And that's in fact why criminal use of Bitcoin has gone down. So it was estimated recently that criminal cases around the world, 1.5% is used Bitcoin. And that number in the last 6 to 9 months has gone down to under 1%, because actually using Bitcoin for crime is a terrible idea, because you can go right to the publicly accessible blockchain. It's completely transparent, and they track down the criminals. So the criminals are not using Bitcoin, they're using cash, or they might be using gold. It's much more fungible. Now, having said that, the fungibility issue with Bitcoin, with improvements that are coming, will be improved. These are things that are coming that will be improved. But I would say that is one aspect to gold that is superior in that respect, that one aspect.
And there you have it, what Max Keiser thinks about gold versus Bitcoin. Who do you think will be the ultimate winner among Michael Saylor and Frank Giustra in this upcoming gold versus Bitcoin debate? Tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching.